Welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be talking about Hurricane Lee and its potential impacts on areas such as New York, Newfoundland, and all those areas. So currently we have Advisory 33 up here on Hurricane Lee. So this was earlier today, of course September 13th. And it looks like it's holding on to that major hurricane status at maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour, as this is still a hurricane, but it looks like it's probably not a major hurricane after I upload this, and once it reaches landfall status, I guess, that will it's currently unknown, but that will most likely just be a tropical cyclone with sustained winds of maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour possible. Now on to your track. So we go over here to the MCMWF Anton. This is the track agreed by most weather models, and it looks like this will make landfall at around 40 to 50 miles per hour, but once it hits into the main areas, not along the coast, it will mostly be around 30 to 40, maybe even 20 miles per hour, and it will of course drift off northeast back into the Atlantic Ocean, where it will likely die before it even makes it back into the ocean. Now onto your satellite view. A very impressive storm, especially for how long it's actually survived. And you can definitely see, last video there's a lot of white around this eye wall. Looks like there's not, so that was eye wall heating, and there's some white spots here but not as much, so that could be a sign of weakening. And the strongest part is on this little very dark red over here, and on this band you could definitely see how red it is. So in these areas it'll be very powerful. So once it makes landfall, it will most likely make landfall at around a tropical storm status, like I said earlier. And lightning, of course, is very, very common, or at least common in this storm. If you are talking, lightning strikes, deadly lightning strikes, and maybe maybe a storm outbreak, just maybe in Newfoundland. So if we go ahead and look at the environment, this is up here, winds in knots surrounding Hurricane Lee. So you can definitely see where we were talking about earlier, that little band you can see up here around 75 to 80 knot winds, and especially ahead of this too, that will be very high winds, which could actually kill off the storm due to wind shear. Wind shear is what usually kills off these storms. It actually downgraded the storm severely a few days ago to actually almost Cat 1 status. If not, I think it was Cat 1 at some point. Even though it was a major hurricane, Cat 5, it is not expected to pose any big potential impacts to East Coast besides dangerous rip currents and maybe some waves that are pretty large. If you go ahead and look at the up winds here, sorry for stuttering so much, I just got home. It's yellow with maybe some orange here and there, where it's actually supposed to make a landfall. And last but not least, here's the Hurricane Lee model intensity guidance. So its wind speed is projected around 90 miles per hour, but in the forecast hour all the way up here, and it looks like to where most of the models are pointing to forecast hour around between 36 and 48. It'll be downgraded to Cat 1, and then tropical storm. And tropical storm is where it's expected to actually make landfall at. You can definitely see where they kind of flatlines and kind of goes back up. That's likely before it makes landfall, and that dip right there is when it actually makes landfall. So it could potentially not even make a landfall at tropical storm, and maybe just be a tropical depression or just a storm system that causes heavy rains, flash flooding, and rip currents. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.